Was Jesus a lawbreaker? The Pharisees seemed to think that both Jesus and his disciples were lawbreakers when on one Sabbath, Jesus and his crew were passing through a grain field while picking the heads of grain. These religious Pharisaic leaders considered Jesus' excessive walking and the picking of grain work, and work, of course, was forbidden on the Sabbath under the Old Covenant. This brings the Pharisees to ask the question, why are they doing what is not lawful on the Sabbath? So, was Jesus a lawbreaker? To answer this, it helps to understand the difference between what God actually commanded in the Old Testament and how the religious leaders of Jesus' day twisted God's law and over time created their own laws. Jesus later comments on this in Mark 7, 8, and 9 when he says that they, the Pharisees, are neglecting the commandment of God. You hold to the tradition of men. He was also saying to them, you nicely set aside the commandment of God in order to keep your tradition. Jesus, therefore, was not compelled to follow these men's traditions, which they considered law. He did, however, without fail, always kept every aspect of what God commanded. For if he did not, that would have been sin. 1 John 3:4 states that sin is lawlessness. In other words, sin is the transgression of the law. Yet Jesus never sinned. In fact, in verse 5 of this text, John writes, "In him there is no sin." Jesus never, not once, not even a little, broke a single law of God. He was not a lawbreaker, not a rebel, not a criminal. He is the Lord, even the Lord of their Sabbath. In Mark chapter 3, we see Jesus turning the tables and asking the Pharisees, is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do harm, to save a life or to kill? You see, the Sabbath day was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. The law was for their good, not their harm, and yet the Pharisees got so hung up on their rules that they neglected the heart of the rule maker. These hardened Pharisees were the true lawbreakers of God, not Jesus. Let us not put man's rules, man's traditions in front of God's love and His commandments. When we do, we may not be much different than the Pharisees.